Sportz Blitz Live is on the air. News, scores, predictions. Sportz Blitz Live with your host, Brett Pritchard, Luke Robinson, and Randy Lee. Call 800-782-0108. Auburn.
45-50, 45, there goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back!
Alabama.
38 pounds and 80 yards.
And the latest in high school sports.
Yes, he is! Touchdown!
It's Sportz Blitz Live now. Brought to you by S&S Discount Tire and JR's Sports Bar and Grill.
Hey everybody, and welcome into Sportz Blitz Live. Luke Robinson with you, and Brett Pritchard will be joining me shortly. Tons and tons to talk about tonight. Want to thank you for being with us. Obviously, we would love to have your phone calls, so be sure and get those in. We'll talk anything you want to talk about. You want to talk about high school football, anything related to college football, recruiting, NFL, a lot on the table tonight. Of course, most of it will center around Alabama and Auburn. Alabama with a big win over Florida this past weekend. And Auburn, of course, got the big win against Kansas State on Thursday night. Some other big news in the SEC, that Mississippi State LSU game was a fun one for me to watch. I thought it was great to see Mississippi State go to Baton Rouge and take care of business for the first time in a long time. Personally, I'd picked Mississippi State ahead of LSU in my standings earlier this year, so I pat myself on the back a little bit. But the SEC is so arduous this year, I don't know that anybody can really pick anything with any degree of certainty. Mississippi State looks good. Ole Miss still looks good. Arkansas is beginning to come around. I wouldn't put anything past Tennessee and Georgia this next weekend. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if Tennessee were to go in there and get the victory from the Bulldogs. I think that's a team certainly on the rebound. So certainly we have a ton to talk about, and we would love to hear from you. Our phone number is on the screen, 256-234-6464. We'll be back in just a minute with more Sportz Blitz Live.
On Tap is brought to you by Hyundai of Auburn. You owe it to yourself. Call Hyundai of Auburn today at 334-321-0777 and visit them online at HyundaiofAuburn.com. Advanced Heating and Air is East Central Alabama's certified train comfort specialist. That means the pros at Advanced make you the focus with superior service on all brands, 24-hour availability, and in most cases, same-day response. Advanced Heating and Air is exclusive with Train Heating and Air products that deliver the longest reliability and great energy efficiency with an amazing 0% 60-month financing package on all new Train products. The best service contacts in the region, and all pricing is upfront so you have no surprises. Advanced Heating and Air, where your comfort is our #1 concern.
Welcome to ASA, a full-service salon and spa that caters to men, women, and children. Our product lines are Redken, Keratin, Sahag, and Moroccan Oil. We have 8 master color specialists, a skin esthetician, a licensed massage therapist, and a licensed nail technician.
We have introduced the Keratin Smoothing Treatment. It is perfect for all hair types, and it reduces frizz up to 95%.
From the time you arrive until the time you leave, it is our goal to exceed your expectations. Please call ASA Salon and Spa for all of your styling needs.
Lake Garden Washington Details, 734 on Airport Drive here in Alexander City. Phone number 256-749-6351. Remember now, they do offer gift certificates. They can do just a regular wash or a complete detail. They go that extra mile, and of course they use quality Alabama Auto Magic products. They're family owned and operated. Again, give David a call. They'll be happy to pick up and deliver that vehicle right back to your job site too. The good folks there at Lake Martin Wash and Detail.
The communities of Auburn and Opelika are proud to be hosting the Alabama High School State Football Championships this December. Sponsored by the Auburn-Opelika Tourism Bureau, Auburn University Athletics, the cities of Auburn and Opelika, and Uncle Bob's Self-Storage. This year's Super 7 will be at beautiful Jordan-Hare Stadium, December 3rd through the 5th. Log on to aotourism.com/Super7 today to make hotel reservations, buy tickets to the games, and find out everything you need to know about the best high school football Alabama has to offer.
Over the years, S&S Tires has grown into the Lake Martin area's largest volume tire dealer. S&S Tire offers the industry's best brand names: Michelin, Goodyear, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Firestone, and much, much more. The tire pros at S&S offer professional installation and the region's best price. In addition to your tire needs, S&S offers full automotive mechanical work for all your vehicle maintenance and repair needs with the area's most experienced staff. Visit either of our 2 locations on Cherokee Road in Ellick City or at South Street in Dadeville. At S&S Tire, we're installing peace of mind for every customer we serve. Every job, every day.
Lake Winds Golf Course, the most affordable, quality round of golf in Central Alabama. Located right off Highway 280 on County Road 40 in Alexander City, Lake Winds Golf Course offers affordable memberships, an updated pro shop, junior golf program, annual tournaments, and weekly matches. Call for your tee time today, 256-825-9860. Lake Winds Golf Course.
This segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by Alex City Marine, the Lake Martin area's premier new and used boat and motor dealership. Find out more at alexcitymarine.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sportz Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and S&S Discount Tire. Brett Pritchard, Luke Robinson here with you. Till 9 o'clock, we want to hear from you, 256-234-6464, 1-800-782-0108. Luke already got a couple callers holding. Let's go to the phone lines. James in Opelika, you're on Sportz Blitz.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Doing great, James. How are you tonight?
Hey, Brett, I got a few for you, and Luke, I got a few for you in Alabama. But, Brett, tell me this. Am I an Auburn fan that loves Auburn, but I critique them too much? Because sometimes you need to know these things. This is what I see with Auburn. And I know people think Auburn is this top 5 team right now. And if they are, it's because there's nothing else in the country, to be honest with you. It's no good football teams out there besides the few we got in Oklahoma. Gus Malzahn, I haven't jumped on his bandwagon like everybody else in Auburn. I don't want to be fooled because, to me, it looks like we're getting fooled. And I'm going to tell you why. For one, he looks like he wants to be a genius everybody's talking about. Every game we get on the game, we get out to the score, everything going well. He want to take the quarterback out, put another quarterback in to do a receiver. Like he wants people to say, look at me, look what I'm doing. Man, you're not doing this, man. You caused the field goal when we was going to score. But the reason why I said that we may be getting fraud, and I'm going to tell you, if you go back, Gus Malzahn been with us since 2010. And he always hollered he got this big playbook. He has no big playbook. He has a few plays that he runs off the tip of his head. And then when it gets violated, when the game gets tight or whatever, he just revert back to them same plays. What you have to do, Brett, for me, is this. If you got a play, if you haven't evolved, when he came in this year, what we said, if he opened up this offense, we were going to be dangerous, right? You thought he had more offense than we got. We done been in 3 games, been on the top one up at Kansas State, and you haven't seen no more offensive scheme, no system, no only running play, besides that one running play that you had the ball straight up the middle, if you go across the flat, and you're going deep in the stand, and you're doing a little jet sweep. That's all and Nick Marshall keep. What I'm saying is this. If you don't add, if you're a very explosive offense, you have to add to your repertoire every year. We haven't added nothing every year because it's by now it's the 4th year or whatever you want to say. I haven't seen this big array of offensive firepower that we supposed to have. We run the same play. They work to a great degree. our offensive line. Our offensive line is not that great right now. You got to help them out. You have to help them out. You have to. Look what Nick Saban. I'm just going to Nick Saban them now. Look what Nick Saban do for the quarterback up there. They roll him out.
Hey, look.
So what I'm saying from the offensive standpoint, you have to add more to what you're doing. Because
well, look.
Let me ask you one more question. Whatever happened to the warp speed offense? But where's the no-huddle offense going at 100 miles an hour? We haven't seen that in 2 years.
In 2 years?
2 years. You haven't really seen.
Did you watch the Missouri game, James? Did you watch the SEC championship game?
It wasn't warp speed.
Well, what all anybody was doing, and look, I agree with some of your points, but James, I tend to think you get a little bit down on the team when they had one poor offensive performance. If you think back to Mississippi State last year, they only got 120 yards rushing against Mississippi State. There's going to be games where everything doesn't click. Auburn didn't look good offensively. I'm the first to say it, but I'm also not going to go stand on the edge of a cliff and get ready to jump off and decide that this is just a bunch of junk. Look, I'm telling you, I think Auburn needs to be a little more creative sometimes on some screen passes. I don't think they use C.J. Uzoma near enough. I agree with you on all that. But I do think that Gus Malzahn was the center of attention in college football last year. And when this rule was brought up, his name, Hugh Freeze, those guys' names were the ones Nick Saban and Brett Bielema and all were talking about. They weren't saying their name per se, but they were referring to their hurry-up offense. They run it as fast or faster than anybody in the country, including Oregon. And it hasn't been quite as fast as we've seen it last year. But, again, it's a different team. It's a different chemistry up front. And I don't think our offensive line is as good as it was last year. No doubt about it. But I think this team's going to grow and get better.
But that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is basically, yeah, but all I'm saying basically for this Auburn team, I'm saying for offensive G, for me, for 4 years, like we just got through answering, you gotta have more in the repertoire than what we have. That running game, that running back going up the middle, that is so simple. But anyway.
Pretty good for Trey Mason last year. I don't know about Cameron Artis-Payne, but it worked pretty well last year.
James, thank you, buddy.
James, we're up. We got to go, but man, we appreciate your call every week. Call us back, okay? Thank you, my man.
Let me chime in here. First of all, even as an Alabama fan, I got to say, I mean, Auburn did lead the nation in rushing last year, so, I mean, going up the middle was okay. And, of course, the line isn't as good.
I know more to it than just up the middle.
Fans always think that it's no big deal. You don't rebuild, you reload. Well, when you lose the second pick in the NFL draft, you're going to have to rebuild there.
That's right.
Auburn's got a weaker line this year than they had last year.
Naturally.
Also, don't discount the fact that Nick Marshall, I mean, look, he's probably got some other things on his mind. I mean, he's not all there mentally this year as much as he was last year.
I think you're right.
And people have had a summer to prepare for Gus Malzahn's offense and Nick Marshall, so people know a little bit more about it. And look, Auburn manhandled Kansas State in a way. Auburn was so much bigger, so much faster than Kansas State, it wasn't funny. But Bill Snyder outcoached Malzahn. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Auburn still got out of there with a win.
I think you're exactly right. And, I mean, Brett Bielema sent Gus Malzahn a text this week and said, and I know everybody almost passed out, but like he said at the press conference, but, he knows how hard it is to go into that place. There are just some places that are hard to go into, and it's easy. Look, Auburn fans, you've said this before with Alabama fans, spoiled. You just think Auburn's going to roll out there and stick 49 on the board against everybody. They did make it look easy last year. Missouri had the #1 rush defense in the country last year, and Auburn scored 59 points on them and set an SEC championship record. It's not really that easy. You got to have the right players and doing the right things. Yes, Gus Malzahn's the first to tell you we run 5 or 6 plays and we do variations. Who stopped it yet? Auburn had opportunities. The plays were there. Either Nick Marshall overthrew the receivers or the receivers dropped the ball. If you look at Alabama against Florida, and I want your take on it, Luke, Alabama didn't play very well in the first half. They turned the football over. They gave Florida a chance to be in the game. When you do stuff like that, games are closer than they should be. Alabama's a much better team than Florida is. But at halftime, you're looking at it going, they're still in this ball game, and you allow teams that are lesser than you to stick around. Bad things can happen. Auburn, you got to look at it. When you go back to the national championship year when Auburn played, do you remember the Clemson game? Auburn had to win in overtime, and it had to be a Clemson mistake for Auburn to win the game.
That's right.
You got to have a Tennessee game like Alabama where Terrence Cody comes up with 2 blocked field goals. Even when you have the best players in the country and the best things go your way, you're going to have a situation where you got to have a break or two go your way. Just be thankful that you get out of Manhattan with a win. Now, I don't know what that says for Auburn the rest of the year. Auburn may go 3-3 in the next 6 games because it's a tough stretch. Are they a terrible football team? No. Are they playing a very tough schedule? Absolutely. We saw Mississippi State move up from pretender status to contender, at least for this week. They may switch back down next week. We don't know. That's how tough this division is.
Well, I mean, there's 6 of the 7 that are ranked, and if Arkansas were to beat Texas A&M this week, which they'll be ranked. So, I mean, you'll have everybody in the West. It's just ridiculous. And look, they all won't end up being ranked because they're all going to beat up on each other. But, I mean, they all bring something different to the table. And the thing is, I mean, you're right about the Florida game. Look, people want to talk about all Alabama's offensive accolades in that Florida game. And the more I watched it, the more I realized the defense played pretty doggone well. I mean, they turned a fumble for a touchdown, did Florida, and the other 2 fumbles were in Alabama territory, setting up easy scores. So, I mean, without those, but here's the thing. They happen. Turnovers are a part of the game. You know, I was listening to Sports all day, and I heard somebody calling, well, without these drop passes, Auburn blows out Kansas State. Well, that's great. I mean, if Kansas State doesn't drop a touchdown pass first thing, maybe they don't lose that game. If they don't miss 3 field goals. But those are all things that happen in the game. I mean, and so people who say, well, if they don't call this, I mean, I saw fouls that should have been called and not called against Kansas State, Auburn, Alabama, and Florida this week.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not making any excuses over here on the Auburn side. Auburn did not play well at all. They were very lucky to win that game and get out. I'm the first to say it. But you know what? I did take a positive out of it. Auburn's defense played pretty good. And Auburn held them to field goal opportunities. Instead of getting in the end zone, they came up with turnovers. They came up with them having to kick field goals, and they didn't make them. You know what? That's Kansas State. They had opportunities. They didn't execute. Florida, the same way. You know what? You can sit there and say, well, Alabama did this, and they turned the ball over. Alabama's defense shut Florida down outside of those turnovers.
Well, and one more thing, just as a personal pride for the SEC, Auburn goes to one of the hardest places to play in the Big 12 and gets a win without playing great. Alabama goes to Atlanta without playing great and keeps West Virginia to 1 touchdown offensively in the game. And Oklahoma didn't hold them to 1 touchdown, and Alabama held them to fewer yards. So, yeah. I mean, I think that's all, again, just tells you a testament to the SEC. And look, Auburn didn't play their best game. It's not a big whoop. They got out of there. They better start playing their best game coming up because both Alabama and Auburn have real hard slates in the next 4 or 5 games.
And I know it's a different team. And Nick Saban talks about, well, this year's different than last year. You know, Auburn against Mississippi State, I sat there in the stadium, watched them on. I was lucky to win that game last year. Had to come up with a big throw to C.J. Uzoma at the end of the game to win it. Look, would I have thought Auburn would have gone to a national championship game after that performance? I was just glad we beat Mississippi State. I wasn't worried about an SEC championship or anything. Look, from week to week in college football now, you watched it Saturday with Oregon. You watched it with Washington State. Washington State almost beat Oregon, probably should have beaten Oregon. Florida State showed without Jameis Winston, they're a very average football team at best. I don't know who to pick. I don't know who's really great out there right now. I don't think there's a team that's just really out there just blowing everybody's socks off.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, the happiest people in the world are the people with the playoff committee. I guess they should be the happiest and the saddest because they're going to obviously make some people upset. This is going to be tough. They're not going to be 4 teams that are just head and shoulders above everybody else. So it's going to be tough, but it does make it intriguing for the entire year because I've seen some people put Florida State in the playoffs, some people not put them in there. Some people put Alabama in, some people not. Oregon, Auburn, Texas A&M. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we all had Georgia in there.
That's right. That's right. I think it's going to be like this all year. I think it's going to be complete flip-flops all the way around. I just think that that's the way college football has set itself up now. And all these teams have great football players. And if you don't show up to play, you can get your tail beat. And that's just the way it is. 256-234-6464, 1-800-782-0108. This is normally our high school segment, but James got us kicked off on the college deal. So we will continue to talk about college football if you want to. But in the next segment, we will go back, recap some of the games from this past week, talk about some of these matchups, set the stage for this coming up week. Because, Luke, can you believe we are halfway through the high school football season?
No, I mean, it's incredible. We do the scoreboard show every week, and I was looking at JJ, my co-host, and I was thinking, my God, I mean, we're literally talking about playoffs now. Yeah, we're talking about seedings. I mean, that's crazy. You wait for football all year long, and then it just it's like that.
Snap of the fingers, and it's over. So when we come back, we'll talk about these big games around the state. Again, Prattville and that Prattville-Phoenix City game caught the headlines of a lot of people, and we'll talk about that plus a lot more when we come back. Stay tuned. More Sportz Blitz Live presented by JR's and S&S Discount Tire right after this.
Which hotel is the best value?
Which one do you think I should buy?
Buying a car is a big thing. They cost a lot and you own it for years. You need to compare Hyundai of Auburn for your peace of mind. Discounts, cashback, got them at Hyundai of Auburn, and America's best warranty. Plus, we just received Hyundai's President's Award with the second highest customer satisfaction among like dealerships in the entire country. So if being treated right is important, we'll see you soon. Hyundai of Auburn, you owe it to yourself.
In a world that's ever-changing, you have to be sure that your choices are the right choices. At Central Alabama Community College, you'll know you made the best choice. Whether choosing a technical degree program, taking courses to transfer to a four-year college or university, or being a part of our national championship winning traditions, get a sharper focus on your life by choosing one of our 3 convenient locations: Alex City, Childersburg, and Talladega. Central Alabama Community College. Central to you. Central to your success.
Don't you know there's no queen like Peaches and Clean?
Wow, your carpets look fantastic.
Yeah, thanks to Peaches and Clean.
They look new again.
They also clean my kitchen tile.
Simply amazing. I'm calling Peaches and Clean today.
Just call 502-5326. Oh yeah, they have an area rug cleaning facility too.
Peaches and Clean is now expanded to the Alexander City Lake Martin Market. Give them a call at 334-502-5326.
Call us up at Peaches and Clean.
This gal wrote, I am obsessed with Zaxby's yummy fried pickles. Is that wrong? Well, Lisa Campbell changed her profile picture. Ma has a saying, a fried pickle a day keeps the cravings away. She is a wise woman.
Those pickles ain't gonna pick themselves.
Mean as a hornet, though.
It's fried pickle season. Lightly breaded, fried to perfection, served with ranch dressing. Enjoy them before the crop's gone. Zaxby's, indescribably good.
It's always something. Your car needs a new tire, tuition is due. It's down to the wire. Cheerleading outfits, soccer shoes, football pads, or annual dues. Nellie's in band. She needs a trombone. Good golly molly, you need a loan. Jimmy broke his arm. He needs a cast. You need money, and you need it fast. When life comes at you, Always Money can help you through. It's easy, convenient, friendly, and fast. You'll get the cash you need the day you need it. So because it's always something, remember Always Money. How much can we loan you today?
What is LMG? It's a team of professionals with the tools to create a successful marketing plan to help your business grow. LMG has successful designs that get results for the individual and the business. We provide signs of all types, screen printing and embroidery, promotional products, web design, audio and video production, and much more. LMG has 3 locations to serve you in Alex City, Dadeville, and the Auburn Opelika area. Call us at 888-533-6758.
This segment of Sports Blitz is brought to you by Russell Do-It Center, offering a complete assortment of lumber, building materials, electrical, and plumbing supplies. Russell Do-It Center stores deliver first-class service, top-rate products, and competitive do-it-best pricing.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and S&S Discount Tire. Brett Pritchard and Luke Robinson with you till 9 o'clock. We would love to hear from you, 256-234-6464, 1-800-782-0108, to be part of the program. Again, we want to thank all of our sponsors on this program. 7 years strong and counting, Luke, on this program. And, again, one of the most watched and listened to sports shows throughout the state on Charter Channel 80. So
talk about hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. And talk about you think about some of the players that played at Auburn, Alabama 7 years ago and where they are now. I mean, some of them have had NFL careers and are gone.
Yeah, that's
true.
I mean,
it's amazing. So we'd love to hear from you. Our prediction score is Arkansas and Texas A&M. At the beginning of football, nobody would have thought that game would have been a marquee matchup. It has turned out to be that way. Arkansas has really played good football. They had one bad half, really. They had a bad half against Auburn in the second half. Outside of that, they played extremely well. I think a lot of intrigue around that game with Texas A&M to see what actually gives there. It will be in College Station, so Texas A&M.
I think Alabama and Auburn have both caught breaks in a sense in their first SEC games. I think Auburn caught a break playing Arkansas so early, and that storm delay, whatever reason, it affected Arkansas more than it did Auburn. Oh, yeah. And I think Alabama caught a break playing Florida when they did. And in fact, this may be a horrible break for Florida because it looked like whatever confidence Jeff Driscoll had, it was absolutely obliterated.
They're just terrible offensively, Luke. We'll dive into college football. We got so much to talk about. But we're in the high school blitz segment of our show, and we'll stay here in the next two segments. And we'll start with Class 7A last week. Some great games. I've got to start with Phoenix City and Prattville. Turned out to be the game everybody thought it was going to be. Yep. Chad Anderson at Prattville's really turned things around down there. He was on a semi-hot seat. We had Chip Powell on last week, one of the radio announcers for Prattville, and he said, look, Jamie Dubose, Bill Clark, you follow that up, it's tough. And they had a drop-off in talent, but it looks like things have turned around. Very, very good Phoenix City team coming in, led by former Prattville head coach Jamie Dubose. Mm-hmm. First time back to Stanley Jensen Stadium, not wearing Prattville maroon, Prattville scarlet and white. Brings Phoenix City in there. They win 42-34 in a shootout. A very tough game. Jamie Dubose gave a lot of credit to Prattville, but he said, look, and he had to have cherished this more than anything because Prattville was a special place to him. There's a lot of special people down there that still like Jamie Dubose, but he said in the post game, he said, it doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah, it does. And look, Jamie Dubose is just a fabulous coach. We talk about him on the Scoreboard Show ad nauseum. I know people probably even get sick of me saying his name, but I've been saying since about week 2, Central Phoenix City may be the best team in the state, and I think they may be my favorite to win that classification. I know everybody's still going to pick Hoover. There's going to be
but they are loaded with talent.
I'm going to tell you what, man. Central Phoenix City, nobody's going to outcoach them. And they have the athletes. So that's a pretty deadly combination right there.
Good recipe there. Enterprise defeated Auburn 38-21, Luke. They have one win on the season. They're 1-4.
Colin Cowherd says all the time that things are a tire fire, and that's exactly what Auburn seems to be right now. Unfortunately, I hate it for them. I've loved following that program, but things have really kind of come apart, and I don't know exactly what happened.
Because they've got their quarterback back, Tyus Flakes back. Bradley Northcutt being the quararback. But this is the team that was in the state championship game last year, and I know they lost Rashawn Evans. I know they lost a big-time player, and then, 2 years ago, Reuben Foster. They've lost some tremendous guys on defense. But you look at Hoover and Auburn where they started. Now, Hoover had a big win this week. We'll talk about that. But it's just nobody saw this coming.
No.
I didn't.
Well, and I think it may be a case of once things start going downhill, it can be tough to stop it. Apparently there was a pretty steep decline here. I mean, and that ball started going pretty fast. And it's going to be difficult for Auburn to turn this thing around, I would suspect. I mean, because now we are, just like you said, we're in what, week 5, week 6?
With us, it's week 6 coming up.
It's technically week 6. And, I mean, it may be too late to turn it around. You hope not. I mean, I love that Auburn program.
But I don't think anybody saw Enterprise. Enterprise got a good program. I don't think anybody saw Enterprise beating them 38-21.
No, and in fact, I think I could take it a step further and say at the beginning of the season, I don't think anybody saw Enterprise beating Auburn.
Auburn did turn the ball over 6 times in that game. We've seen it up here at Benjamin Russell against Opelika. You have a bad special teams night, bad offensive turn the ball over. It doesn't matter who you play. You shoot yourself in the foot, you're going to lose. But it'll be interesting to see from this point forward, can Auburn win out and make some noise and get things turned around. Here's a score. Gadsden City, 44, Bob Jones, 23. Bob Jones falls out of that #1 ranking. We have been watching Gadsden City since week 1. They are a good, complete football team this year, not just a defensive team. They are putting up points. You better watch them out of the north coming out. Hoover's good. There's some good teams up there, but Gadsden City, to me, may be the team to beat in this state.
I agree with you. I think they're sneaking up on folks, and they're about to really make a move towards that top spot too. I mean, look, Hoover's going to get the #1 ranking because I think a lot of folks just look at it and say, you know what, Hoover hadn't lost a game in state, and they always win the state championship, or they're always in it, so I'll just vote them #1. And really, in the end, what's the harm in it? Because you're going to have a playoff and your region seedings. It doesn't mean anything, but there is a pride thing involved. And I think, in my opinion, Central Phoenix City has earned that top spot, and I think Gadsden City may be #2.
Hoover did win 56-6 over Thompson. I don't think anybody was surprised there. Listen to this one. Hewitt-Trussville, 64. Spain Park, 63 and 5 OTs. I know you guys talked about it on the scoreboard. You play all of that time and you lose on a missed extra point.
Well, it's reminiscent of Alabama, Florida 1999, and both teams, I think, missed their extra point after a touchdown. But Florida had a penalty, and Alabama got to kick it again, and they made it the second time. You hate to see it end that way. It doesn't seem right. What seems right, I know Oak Mountain and Vestavia ended in overtime when Oak Mountain won, stopping Vestavia from 4th and goal from the 1. That's how it's supposed to end, something like that, okay? Or Vestavia gets in on 4th and 1 from the 1.
Yeah.
But it's not supposed to end on a missed extra point. But, they're trickier in high school. Not everybody's got Michael Proctor in high school.
That's
what
exactly right. I mean, it's a good point. Mountain Brook 14-11 winners over Vestavia Hills. That was a close game there. McGill-Tulane continues to struggle. Mary Montgomery wins 34-24 there, and then Smith Station beats Valley 23-10, and that's Class 7A there for you. So some interesting look in the first year of 7A. It's going to be a toss-up, I think. I mean, which I think that's a good deal. I think that definitely Hoover's turning things around. They're a strong football team. But I don't think anybody's ready to pencil them back in as state champs right now.
I think some people may be without looking a little deeper into these rankings. I'm certainly not. What the Hoover I've seen on TV. Now, I have not seen them up close and personal. Obviously, I'm here for the scoreboard show, but I have seen them play on TV. And I can tell you what I've heard about Central Phoenix City. I think that Central Phoenix City team would beat them. It sounds like that Gadsden City team would give them all they want.
It's going to be interesting. And you remember Jamie Dubose with Florence last year had Hoover beat up in Florence, and Hoover was able to pull it out. They may meet again, this time for a state championship in 7A. Let's move to 6A and run down some scores there as we move through. Benjamin Russell defeated Pell City 35-7. They continue to get better and better each and every week. Carver Montgomery 51-21 winners over Stanhope. You look at Clay Chalkville, this is a phenomenal team. Now, they gave up 35 to Benson Valley, but they scored 45. They're a good football team, Luke, and their team is going to be right there at the end here in 6A.
I didn't know this game was coming up because I usually only go week to week, but I happened to notice, guess who's playing not this coming week but next week?
You got me.
Shades Valley and Clay Chalkville.
That
may be the game of the year in the state. I thought it was going to be Central Phoenix City taking on Prattville, but Shades Valley with Keith Mixon, who I had the pleasure of interviewing the other day for an article I'm doing on him, and I had the pleasure of interviewing his coach, and they've got Rashad Louie, and they've got Darren Payne, and then you go over there to Clay Chalkville, and they've got Pigram at quarterback. They've got about 4 or 5 guys that are probably being recruited. They've got fabulous wide receivers. They've got a great running back. Man, that is going to be the game of the year, in my opinion. And those two teams, they'll probably be 2-3. They're 2-3 right now.
Yeah.
They'll probably continue to be 2-3 when that game rolls around. And I think there are 4 teams. I've been saying it for a while now. There are 4 teams in 6A that can win it all. They're obviously 2 of them. But that's and Spanish Fort I thought was one of them. But Spanish Fort has lost their quarterback Tyler Johnson.
They sure did.
He's out with an ACL tear. how in the world is that going to affect them? We saw what happens with Florida State. What do you think is going to happen with the program?
Oh, it shakes you up. I mean, you don't replace guys like that. Not to say Spanish Fort can't continue to play really good football, but you lose your leader, and they did win against Saraland 28-13, but they lost in the long run, losing Tyler Johnson there. Shays Valley did win 49-13 over Woodlawn. Opelika 45-21, still undefeated over Oxford. A big win there for them. Homewood beats John Carroll 37-7. That's a few scores from 6A. We got some players of the week that we want to run down before we go to this break. When we come back, we'll set the stage for some games next week to look at, because some really good football games coming up next week. A lot of out-of-region matchups for some teams. If we didn't hit a score that you wanted us to talk about, we'll be glad to talk about that. Give us a call, 256-234-6464, 1-800-782-0108. Let's go to the Sportz Blitz AHSA Radio Network Player of the Week first, and it's Brendan Baines from Tallahassee High School. What an unbelievable athlete and kid we have here from Tallahassee. Rushed for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns, including a 57-yard touchdown run on the game's opening drive. 31-16 victory over Clay Central. I'm telling you, Luke, this is a phenomenal kid right here. He is unbelievable, the stats he has right now. He is ranked number 4 in the country right now. Number 4 with 1,357 yards rushing. That's a 271.4 yards per game average.
And he ain't doing this against Mama and them. I
No.
mean, he did this against Central of Clay County. I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
And they're known for defense. So a 31-16 win, 4 touchdowns there. All 4 touchdowns coming by way of Brendan Baines. So congratulations, the HSA Radio Network Player of the Week for Sportz Blitz. Now the Lee County Player of the Week, sponsored by Rudalisa Anderson and Cruise Planners, is Trey Trimble from Smith Station. A wide receiver, had 8 catches, 198 yards and 2 touchdowns. Single-handedly outscored Class 6A Valley in a 23-10 road win for Smith Station. Helped the Panthers bounce back from a last week loss against Prattville. So congratulations, Trey Trimble, wide receiver at Smith Station, for winning the Lee County Player of the Week, sponsored by Rudalisa Anderson. Cruise Planners, call Rudalisa Anderson today, 844-722-6342. And the Lake Martin Area Player of the Week, sponsored by LMG, is Cal Jones, a quarterback from Dayville. 3 carries, 101 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 3 carries, 101 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Boy, you're talking about efficient, talking about cashing in. Touch the ball 3 times,
You know what
3 touchdowns.
I hope that he had 2 1-yarders and a 99-yarder. I think that'd be the coolest thing.
Well, whatever it was, he had a great night and helped his team defeat Hopeful 66-0. So Dayville moves on to play that Tallahassee team this coming up Friday. That's going to be a great
I didn't
football
even know
game.
that game was coming. I might have to sneak over there. Where is that game? Do you know?
I believe it's at Tallahassee. So
Okay.
could be, well, no, I think it's at Dayville. We'll look it up. But I believe it is at Dayville.
We got a
this year.
50-50 shot at it.
Yeah, you can't miss.
I might just go to Dayville and see if I get lucky.
And if the lights aren't on going down the road, Highway 49. Luke, we're going to take a break. We'll come back, set the stage for this coming up weekend, some big games in high school football. Stay tuned. More Sportz Blitz Live, presented by JR's and SNS Discount Tire, right after this.
I was impressed with how many great reviews they had.
What makes CertaPro different is that our people really care about making our customers happy.
They asked what they could do to make painting an extraordinary experience for us. And they kept the gate latched.
We work from a personalized written certainty pledge.
CertaPro painters did a wonderful job. They respected our lifestyle and our home.
It's about 5-star craftsmanship and having truly satisfied customers.
Schedule your free estimate at columbus-auburn.certapro.com. CertaPro Painters, because painting is personal.
Bucks Island is one of the oldest boat dealers in Alabama, serving boaters since 1948 with the largest boat showroom in the state. Bass boats featuring Skeeter, cruisers and sport boats featuring Monterey, pontoons featuring Crest, G3 and Voyagers, powered by Mercury and Yamaha. Bucks Island has sold over 10,000 boats and with a full service and parts and accessories department to keep your boat in top condition. Don't buy a boat till you get a Bucks quote. Visit Bucks Island on Highway 77 in Southside or online at bucksisland.com. Give them a call at 1-800-I'm-READY. Bucks Island, where our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
What is LMG? It's a team of professionals with the tools to create a successful marketing plan to help your business grow. LMG has successful designs that get results for the individual and the business. We provide signs of all types, screen printing and embroidery, promotional products, web design, audio and video production, and much more. LMG has 3 locations to serve you in Alex City, Dadeville, and the Auburn Opelika area. Call us at 888-533-6758.
Don't let pests take your house or business over. Wave the red flag. Red Flag Pest, owned and operated by Scott Davis on Highway 280 in Jackson's Gap, is licensed, insured, and bonded, and serves the Lake Martin area, specializing in lake homes, residential property, and industrial property. Call for a free inspection today, 256-825-0430, and visit us online at redflagpestcontrol.com. Red Flag Pest Control, when the problem has to stop. Guaranteed. Family owned and operated, Holly's Home Furnishings is the Lake Martin area's best choice for all of your furniture needs. Whether you're looking for something new for the living room, dining room, or bedroom, Holly's has something you'll love for every room in your house. Holly's has a great selection of furniture and the most popular names like Lane, Broyhill, Rowe Furniture, as well as the best names in mattresses like Sealy and Tempur-Pedic. You can even get beautiful home decor, everything your home needs, at Holly's Home Furnishings, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City. Visit their website at hollyshomefurnishings.com.
Hello, I'm Russell Building Supply.
And I'm the big box store.
Box, I don't mean to cut you short, but I've got a delivery to make.
A delivery?
Yeah, Russell delivers anywhere in the local area for free, usually on the same day, and that's on top of our low price guarantee.
Really? Free? Are you kidding me?
No, and if you prefer to pick the order up yourself, we'll load it for free.
And on the same day?
Yeah, we're really good at working on short lead times. How about you?
Yeah, I'm short.
Serving Lake Martin and Central Alabama.
This segment of Sportz Blitz is brought to you by Dark Insurance, offering insurance for all your personal needs, including auto, both homeowners and disability. Don't be in the dark. Call Dark Insurance at 256-234-5026.
Welcome back to Sportz Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and S&S. Discount Tire, last segment here of high school football before we shift full-fledged into college and whatever else might be on your mind out there. There's a lot going on nationally that we'd love to talk about, that we'd love to hear from you about. Give us a call, 1-800-782-0108, 256-234-6464. Luke, you don't have to look very far to find that there are a ton of great games on tap, and a few of note here, and we'll continue to run some down. First, Gaston City, you at Trussville.
Yeah, I mentioned off air that you at Trussville's got to be a little bit tired.
Exhausted.
I mean, they essentially played 2 games Friday night.
5 overtimes and a tremendous win there for them. Bob Jones falls from number 1. They will when the new poll comes out. They play Florence. That's a rival game.
I think it may be good that Bob Jones fell out of that spot. I mean, they've had a taste of the limelight now. Maybe they can be a little bit hungrier for it to get it back.
Prattville Carver. That's been a great game the last several years, and Carver's had a great team. Looks like Chad Anderson's getting things back going, but the schedule, you play Phoenix City, then you turn around and play Carver.
Yeah, that's pretty difficult. I like Prattville in this spot. I think I called Carver in the Champions Challenge, and they've got a ton of athletes. I mean, they really look good on the hoof, but they hadn't put it all together. I think Prattville may squeak by in this one.
You look down at Opelika, Phoenix City. Talking about Phoenix City coming off a big win against Prattville. Prattville coming off a tough loss. They got Opelika. Opelika's 5-0. Very good football team, but Opelika has not played anybody like Phoenix City yet.
Kudos to the schedule makers, because I love matchups like this that, it's not in your region and you can get out there and test yourself, and it's not really a step down, certainly for Central Phoenix City. And it's a big move for Opelika. I just think it's a great game, and I'm thankful that they put it together.
Here's one in South Alabama, Saraland, a tough loss to Spanish Fort, but they play Thomasville. You know, they go out of that to me would be a great football game if you're in that region to go watch, Luke.
No doubt about it. And we said one Dadeville and
Tallahassee
coming up. Brandon Baines going up against.
I think you've talked yourself into going over to that.
I think I might go over to it before the scoreboard show.
there's a game out there on tap that we didn't cover here in the high school blitz segment of the show, we'd love for you to call and give us an update on a team in your area. I know Leeds we have a lot of Leeds fans in the area. Leeds continues to win. They're one of the top teams in the state all the way up and down. You know, there's a power ranking out there. Leeds is in that power 20. That's all classifications up and down. So
far and away the team from the lowest classification in that power 22. I mean, far and away. They may be the only one from lower than 5A. I didn't really look over it that closely, but I think they are.
back in the number one spot on the power 20.
Yeah, and again, I mean,
is that Maine?
I think that's more of a Birmingham thing because Central Phoenix City is way down that list too, and I just think people are selling them short. Just watch out for them, I'm telling you.
I think you're right, and again, let's go to the phone lines. Go ahead, caller. You're on Sportz Blitz.
Hey, what's up, Brett?
Hey, man, what's going on?
This is Bo, man.
Hey, Bo, what's going on?
Oh, not much, man. I just heard you talk about Leeds, man.
Yeah, talk to us about Leeds and what they've been doing because, again, a very good football team in Leeds. They beat Elmore County in a little bit of a surprise, 31-14. I think Elmore County is a little bit better than people have given them credit for. They're in a tough region. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Elmore County plays out. But Leeds, you see anybody beating Leeds?
No, sir. Not yet. What about Piedmont? You think who they play this week?
Yeah, we'll run down Piedmont. I'll pull them up, and
Piedmont got beat last weekend, did they not?
I believe they did. Mm-hmm. I believe they did, but Piedmont's a school.
I'm talking about. Don't Leeds play Piedmont this week, though?
I'll pull up the schedule to make sure that's correct. I believe you're right, though, Bo.
All righty. God bless y'all.
Hey, man, thank you so much, and we appreciate it. And I think he's about to say War Eagle. So
I think he was about to say Roll Tide. I'm
okay,
not sure,
there you go.
He might want to call back.
He might call back and verify that. So just let us know. But we'll again run some more games down from around the state. But again, tell us who in your region that you'd like for us to talk about, or this is an open forum for you to talk about a guy like a Brandon Baines, who is a tremendous athlete that maybe somebody up in Huntsville, Alabama doesn't know about down here in Tallahassee. He knows that he's now the number 4 overall running back in the country by rushing yards, averaging 271 yards a game. Luke, if I were you, I would. If I had some opportunity, I would go down and watch Brandon play.
Yeah, you hear so much about him that 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago on the Scoreboard Show, I was following some scores on Twitter, and somebody just happened to tweet out Brandon Baines has 400 yards at the half. That's ridiculous.
That is amazing. I mean, so a tremendous.
I don't care who you're playing.
Yeah, it definitely is a tremendous athlete that continues to just rack up unbelievable yards. He is playing a very tough defense in Dable. I think we had John Mask, the offensive coordinator for Tallahassee, on the Lake Martin Sports Roundup show, Luke, and he said, what we already knew by him watching film is they're extremely fast. They've got a lot of size over there. They're very talented, and they'll have their hands full. If Brandon Baines rips off 250, 300 yards against Dable, you better watch out. Somebody needs to be jumping on this kid because Dable, although they got off to a slow start, they're a very good football team, Luke.
I mean, if you ask me now, again, Bill Clark's not going to call and ask me, but this may be somebody a UAB would want to come look at. And if it doesn't work out.
Speaking of UAB, they're not doing too bad themselves.
Right? No, Bill Clark doesn't need any of my help apparently.
But you're right. I mean, he's going to make a tremendous football player for somebody, and I'm not comparing him to Amir Abdullah, but everybody in this state kind of passed on Amir Abdullah, and all he's doing is setting records at Nebraska. All he did this past Saturday just rip up tons of yards and had a multiple touchdown game. Brandon Baines falling into that category. You want to keep him in state if you can, but somebody's going to pick him up, and he's going to be a tremendous player for somebody.
I'm going to be interested to see if he'll be at the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game.
I think he deserves it. I think he needs to be in the talk for Mr. Football right now. I mean, you kind of put those kind of numbers up. If he continues to have that kind, I don't care how many. I know there's some great players in the state, not taking anything away, but you're putting those kind of numbers up, Luke. That just doesn't happen every day. Piedmont did lose to Glencoe 31-28 last Friday, and they do play Leeds Friday.
Going back to the Mr. Football debate for a second, if you were going to win it, I think this year may be the time to win it because the number 1 player in the state by most accounts is Lester Cotton, who's an offensive tackle. Darren Payne is up there as the 5-star, but he's a defensive tackle, so he's not going to rack up the
Who's
stats.
leading that? Kerryon Johnson probably? Right
No,
now?
I would say, in my opinion, it's Keith Mixon. I mean, I don't think that – I think –
Well, there's a guy that doesn't get a lot of credit.
That's exactly right. I think –
Okay.
And see, I think that's a huge mistake by Alabama and Auburn because let me tell you something. Brandon Baines – I mean, I've seen a picture of him. He's not the biggest guy. Amir Abdullah was a little more ripped, a little bit stockier, and maybe a hair faster. He also played.
I don't know if he's a hair faster in 4.37.
Yeah, that may be true. But Amir Abdullah also played in the largest classification.
No, he
in the
did.
state
I understand
and
that.
played for a heck of a program. And Keith Mixon plays in a big classification. He plays. They took on the #1 team in Louisiana a couple weeks ago, and they handled them. And Keith Mixon showed out in that game. So I think that in my opinion, he's the leading guy for Mr. Football. But Brandon Baines certainly in the conversation. I just don't think there's anybody this year who just jumps off the screen at you. I think there are a lot of solid players in the state of Alabama this year. I don't know if there's anybody that is just consensus. Forget about it. You know, Jameis Winston, he's #1.
Kind of like college football this year.
Yeah,
there's
that's
not
right.
a consensus #1 team. I think there's 5 or 6 really good teams up there. And I think you throw them all in a hat, and on any given night, one of them could beat the other.
Well, and the thing about, you mentioned Kerryon Johnson, the thing about him, every week he has anywhere from 5 to 10 carries because they're in such blowouts. And his running mate, Malik Miller, who is a junior, who's going to be very highly recruited, he'll be way up there in the rankings too. He's probably just as good a running back, and so they're going to feed off each other a little bit in terms of, or fend off each other, I should say, in the voting. So I think it's a good year for Brandon Baines to be in this thing.
I think you're exactly right. One more call for this last break. Dwayne, you're on Sportz Blitz.
How you doing, guys?
Good. How are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing all right. I was just going to talk about Kerryon Johnson and Malik Miller. Guys, I seen them Friday night in Layton, and it'd be hard for me to see 2 running backs better in the state of Alabama than those boys.
Look, we've been watching Malik Miller and Kerryon Johnson for a while. I think at the end of the year, and I may be wrong, and that's why I brought it up, I think, you know, Kerryon Johnson's carried over a lot of momentum from the last couple of years and what he's been able to do at Madison Academy. I think if he has the numbers, could possibly win Mr. Football. I think he's a extremely talented young man that a lot of people would like to see sign on the dotted line. Of course, Malik Miller kind of gets overshadowed by him because they're on the same team. So, hey, I'm not disagreeing with you at all, Dwayne. I think both of those kids are tremendous athletes and 2 of the best backs in the state.
Yeah. Malik Miller has some of the fastest feet for a big guy I've ever seen.
And he is huge. We've seen him in the state championship game. I mean, he just bowls people over. And, you know, you think you get tired of tackling Kerryon Johnson and Malik Miller comes in, in fact, things may get worse because he runs right through you.
Yeah, we were all surprised to see Coach Malzahn standing in the end zone watching them. You know, that was kind of cool for us all. But thank you, guys.
Hey, where are you calling from, Dwayne?
Moulton.
Moulton. We appreciate your call up there in Moulton, Alabama.
Let me go back to my point in terms of Brandon Baines having a good year, picking a good year to have such huge stats and not be that acclaimed and still win Mr. Football. I'm looking at the AL.com's A-list, and it's #1 Lester Cotton, #2 Kerryon Johnson. He's a running back. But then you got defensive lineman, linebacker, offensive lineman, and then you go all the way to DeSharius Flowers at Viger, who's been battling an ankle problem all year.
Yep.
He's not going to win it. Then defensive end, and then finally Nick Gibson at Pinson Valley, who hadn't been putting up the Tecmo Bowl numbers he put up last year. So I think if Brandon Baines is going to have a shot at this.
I think he does, and I think he deserves it. And again, I'm going to look at that list and say, I kind of get tired of all of us in the media looking at a kid's size. How about look at the stats and look at, like you said, it wasn't somebody that just is not very good in a terrible program. He ran for those kind of yards on Central Clay. If everybody in Alabama that knows high school football knows how good Central Clay's defense is week in and week out, year in and year out, and you run for those kind of yards and you have that many touchdowns, you deserve to be a little bit higher than what that – I mean, that to me is a travesty after looking at the numbers and nationally ranked as one of the top 4 running backs in the country, and you're not even on the list anywhere.
In their defense, this is for recruiting purposes only. This isn't necessarily who's doing what on the field. And it's a very tough, it's a fine line because there's some guys out there who have put up huge numbers. I think Cal Caldwell at Dadeville.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw him and he was absolutely fabulous. And, you know, I think at the time especially, we said, hey, you know, Auburn, you could do worse than take a chance on this guy.
No,
I remember.
Well, I would have loved to have had him in 2012.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And he's been tearing it up.
Yes, he has.
At the next level. But we'll have John Talty on from AL.com to talk about a lot of these guys coming up.
8:30, we'll have him on. So we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll dive into some college football and talk Alabama and Auburn. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live presented by JR's and S&S Discount Tire right after this.
In a world that's ever-changing, you have to be sure that your choices are the right choices. At Central Alabama Community College, you'll know you made the best choice. Whether choosing a technical degree program, taking courses to transfer to a four-year college or university, or being a part of our national championship winning traditions, get a sharper focus on your life by choosing one of our 3 convenient locations: Alex City, Childersburg, and Talladega. Central Alabama Community College. Central to you. Central to your success.
Sperlin Recycling is an Alabama-based recycling company specializing in the recycling of metal, aluminum, copper, ferrous, and non-ferrous waste. Sperlin Recycling is available for all your commercial recycling needs, including demolition, on-site scrap removal, and roll-off services. Sperlin Recycling is a family-owned corporation with several generations of experience. Call us today at 256-234-0903 and visit us online at www.sperlinrecycling.com.
When you're on Lake Martin and looking for your own boat, it pays to know what the locals know. Alex City Marine in Alex City and the all-new Alex City Marine South on Highway 63 across from the Mini Mall is Lake Martin's premier Landau pontoon boat dealer and the area's authorized Suzuki, Honda, and Mercury outboard dealer. Alex City Marine has the industry's best brands, and they back it up with the industry's best boat repair with marine-certified specialists that get it done right. Whether summerization or a full overhaul, Alex City Marine has you covered on both ends of the lake. Know what the locals know. Alex City Marine, Lake Martin's complete sales and service center with 2 locations to serve you.
JR Sports Bar and Grill. Mondays, all you can eat fingers, $13.25. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, all you can eat wings, $12.25. Every day, kids in uniforms eat for $1.99. Alabama Street in Alexander City and Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
For over 60 years, East Central Alabama has relied on Jackson Refrigeration for installation and service on all brands, including Rheem, Goodman, and York. Now we've expanded into A1 Four Seasons Heating and Air, a division of Jackson Refrigeration. We still make your comfort our priority and expect our staff to be the most experienced, dedicated, and trained to give you the highest quality of sales and service. When choosing your heating and air company, choose our family of professionals. The all-new A1 Four Seasons Heating and Air, the all-new division of Jackson Refrigeration.
When it comes to providing the very finest in funeral services, there's one name that stands alone. At Radney's Funeral Home, we take pride in our reputation as one of the leading funeral homes in this part of Alabama. Since 1938, our name has stood for honesty, integrity, and quality. These are the principles that have made Radney's Funeral Home the #1 choice when you want the very finest in funeral service for your family. Radney's Funeral Home, the independent hometown funeral home serving Tallapoosa and surrounding counties.
This segment of Sports Blitz is brought to you by Bice Motors in Alexander City. Brian and his crew offer the latest lines of Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram vehicles, as well as the best used inventory around. Guaranteed lowest price. Bice.
Welcome back to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and S&S. Discount Tire will be with you for another hour till 9 o'clock. Get your calls in, 1-800-782-0108, 256-234-6464. Let's go back. Bo, once again, and Moody, you're on Sports Blitz.
Hey, Brett, this is Bo, man. It was War Eagle, not the other.
I knew it. I
just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, he was just trying to make sure it was.
I know. I respect the team, though. It's all good.
Bo, we appreciate you calling us back, brother.
All right, buddy. Will you ask, what's his name?
John Talty?
Auburn beat writer about recruiting.
Yeah, we'll ask. We'll ask Andy.
All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bo, thanks so much, man.
And Justin with the graphic of the year right there.
That's it, man. Well, hey, look, getting some of our normal callers.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Here's the deal. If you're a caller out there like James or like Bo, if you send us your picture, we will put it on when you call.
That's exactly right. Absolutely. We would love to have it because it's amazing. We've had so many great callers over the last 7 years that have been constant interaction with us. And, a lot of new guys in there like Dwayne that called in. We appreciate. We know there's a ton of you out there watching, listening. And look, I listened to sports talk radio my whole life, and I can remember one time I actually called in on the show, and that was it.
Whose show was it?
It was on Sports Call, actually, back in I think it was 2002 or 2003. One of those, and Tommy Tobler was re-upping his contract, so we talked about that. So I remember that. Kind of like it was yesterday. It's the only time I've ever called in a radio show. So
yeah, I used to call into Sports Call a pretty good bit when John Cameron was on there.
Yeah,
and,
Bill Cameron.
Bill Cameron, excuse me, and John Cameron. I guess I remember it fondly. No, Bill Cameron.
James didn't even make a move.
Yeah, but and I enjoyed it because at the time I was living in Alex City. Didn't have Sirius XM because there wasn't a Sirius XM.
That's right.
And the only sports radio I could get was Sports Call. And I enjoyed it. I thought Bill Cameron did a great job. He was a fixture there for a while, and you guys have taken it over and done even better.
1-800-782-0108, 256-234-6464. Up against a break here. It was a short segment here, and we come back. We'll have Andy Graham on to talk some Auburn football. Following that, we'll have Alabama football, and then we'll have John Talty on again to talk about some of these recruits here in the state of Alabama. So stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR's and SNS Tire right after this.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Over the years, SNS Tire has grown into the Lake Martin area's largest volume tire dealer. SNS Tire offers the industry's best brand names: Michelin, Goodyear, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Firestone, and much, much more. The tire pros at SNS offer professional installation and the region's best price. In addition to your tire needs, SNS offers full automotive mechanical work for all your vehicle maintenance and repair needs with the area's most experienced staff. Visit either of our 2 locations on Cherokee Road in Alex City or at South Street in Dadeville. At SNS Tire, we're installing peace of mind for every customer we serve. Every job, every day.
Sperlin Recycling is an Alabama-based recycling company specializing in the recycling of metal, aluminum, copper, ferrous, and non-ferrous waste. Sperlin Recycling is available for all your commercial recycling needs, including demolition, on-site scrap removal, and roll-off services. Sperlin Recycling is a family-owned corporation with several generations of experience. Call us today at 256-234-0903 and visit us online at www.sperlinrecycling.com.
Arctic Air and Heat, located in Jackson Gap on Highway 280, Mr. Darryl Kazai invites you to call him. Now, folks, the cold weather's coming. That's a fact. Now, he is your rain dealer. That's RHEEM. His number is 256-794-4341. That's Darryl Kazai. Ask him about central heating and air. Central heating and air. That's 256-794-4341. Kazaya, Darryl Kazaya.
At Brown Nursing Home, you'll find quality care and comfortable living. We take great pride in our rehabilitation services, including short-term rehabilitation. We offer speech, occupational, and physical therapy, as well as skilled nursing care. Brown is located on Washington Street in Alexander City. For more information, contact Cecily Lee, the administrator, at 256-329-9061.
Hello, I'm State Farm Agent Karen Chanel. I specialize in helping families and individuals like yourself in the Alexander City and Lake Martin communities. With over 20 years experience with State Farm and a dynamic team of licensed professionals, I am committed to helping you manage the risk of everyday life. And we not only consider it an honor, but a privilege to assist you in meeting your insurance and financial services needs. I sincerely look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Auburn Blitz, brought to you by Dane Sharp, attorney at law, helping injured people get the full benefit of their case. Call Dane today at 256-825-4631.
Welcome back to Sportz Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and SNS. Discount Tire here in the Auburn Blitz segment of our show, sponsored by Dane Sharp, attorney at law. Call Dane today at 256-825-4631. For all your legal needs, and we'll go to the Dane Sharp Attorney at Law hotline and welcome in our very own Andy Graham. Andy, thanks for being on the program.
I'm always glad to be here.
Andy, let's start. Auburn football, Kansas State last Thursday. Wasn't the prettiest performance on offense, got the job done defensively. Thought Auburn improved. Had to have had a good performance on the road to win the game, and we did.
Yeah, you go into a game like that, and everybody says this is a tough game on the road. This is a very hostile environment. You don't go to Kansas State and just expect to come out, to run roughshod over them. Everybody said it was a trap game. Everybody said Auburn it was a dangerous game, and Auburn goes out there and only wins 20-14, and everybody says, what's wrong with Auburn? Well, exactly what we thought going into the game. It would be a difficult game. Now, did Kansas State's defense play better against Auburn's running game than most expected, including myself? Yes. But I think part of that has to do with it was a good scheme that they came up with. One of the things that perhaps maybe, in the SEC, there's so much athleticism in the SEC. A lot of defensive coordinators, most defenses now, just kind of take that for granted, and they're not nearly as disciplined, and they rely more on athleticism. Kansas State, on the other hand, is a defense that is not quite as athletic as you would see in the SEC. So they have no choice but to remain disciplined and be sound and fundamentally in what they do. And that's the kind of defense that Auburn, that's perfect to defend the read option because it's disciplined football. Everybody says you have to keep eye discipline. You can't get distracted by things that are going on. You have to know exactly where the ball is because it can go in so many different directions. And they did an outstanding job. I give them a lot of credit. Just because Auburn only gained 120 yards rushing, I don't think now people are just checking this off and saying, oh, well, it was a nice run. Gus Malzahn's offense, like James, your first caller of the show, seems to indicate. But I think it was one game, and I'm not going to read too much into it. And if Auburn can't run the ball against La Tech, they certainly can't run the ball against LSU or Mississippi State. We've got a problem. We're going to have to adjust, do some major adjustments. But I think we'll just settle down. We'll, play a good homecoming game, feel a little better about ourselves, and everything will be okay.
Well, you look at the offense, and not making any excuses. The offense, a lot of the guys didn't look like they were into the game early. Nick Marshall misfired. The plays were there through the air, and either Nick Marshall misfired, Andy, or when he hit the receiver, they dropped it. So just didn't look really, really sharp out of the gate. Seemed like they settled down the second half. But you're right. I mean, if there's going to be some teams that decide to stack up in there and force you to throw it, you've got to be better in the passing game. And but I'm like you. I think time will tell what the situation is with running the football. And I think Nick Marshall missed a lot of reads. It's all dependent on how the quarterback reads the defensive ends, the linebackers. And I saw on the SEC Network right after the game, and Greg McElroy was showing, and he wasn't being critical of Auburn. He was just saying, look, here are 3 plays I can see where Nick Marshall made the wrong read, and he wouldn't have made that last year. So, you got to be clicking on all cylinders, and it shows you if you're not, you can look pretty bad.
You look at Auburn last year, and they were good in most 3 phases of the game, defensively, they struggled at times. But Thursday night, they, like you said, the running game, Nick Marshall didn't make every read like he needed to make it. When Auburn had an opportunity to make a first down, a receiver would drop the ball. You know, it was all these little things. The special teams, every time that we would punt, it would be a line drive, and Lockett would run it back 30 yards. And I can't tell you, I mean, Kansas State had their average starting field position had to be at their own 40. It just seemed like they were on that. They had us running downhill and us starting every possession inside our own 20 all night. Some games are like that. It just happens like that. But I think you guys were talking about this earlier. It's a fact, I believe. We found out, certainly, this offensive line is not quite as good as the one last year. It's not a big drop-off. It's still a very good offensive line, but it's not quite as good. We might not be able to. Last year, we lined up against 9-man fronts and still ran and said, try to stop it. This year, we're probably not going to be able to do that. We can run against, normal fronts, but when they stack the box, we're probably going to have to throw the ball a lot, a little bit more to loosen them up. Nick Marshall has got to hit those passes. Sammy Coates was open twice on go routes down the sideline. That's how you loosen up a defense. That's how you keep those corners and safeties from creeping down and supporting the run. You beat them deep over the top. We didn't connect on those. And again, when we did make Duke Williams dropped one that would probably have been a touchdown. If Auburn doesn't drop any passes, then it might have been a different game because they would have been more first downs. They would have gotten in a little better rhythm. And once this offense gets in a good rhythm, it's hard to get it out of it.
Couple more things there, Andy. The first one, Jermaine Whitehead, still suspended, not going to be on the sideline this Saturday. It's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out with him. I'll let you elaborate on that and any recruiting news you have out there.
Yeah, Jermaine Whitehead, I don't know what the situation, when it will resolve itself. I don't know if he'll be a part of the team at all for the rest of the year. But usually these situations are that the coaching staff has laid out some criteria that Jermaine needs to do certain things. He needs to act a certain way. He needs to, do whatever the coaches have asked him to do. When they feel like he's proven that he wants to be a part of the team, that he's earned that right, then he'll be back on the field, and I think he'll be starting. But if that doesn't happen, then I don't know. It indefinitely means exactly what it says. And to be honest with you, I thought Joshua Holsey played outstanding. I love Rudy Ford. As a young safety, I think he's getting better every week. I love his closing speed. Trevon Reed did an excellent job. Jonathan Jones is coming along. He made 2 pass interference, but he's getting better. Nick Ruffin, the freshman, stepped up and played extremely well. It turns out he's looking like he's going to be the freshman that makes the biggest impact on the season. I'm not sure anybody saw that coming. So, that situation will resolve itself, but Auburn will be fine with or without Jermaine Whitehead. As far as recruiting news, when the season starts, you get in the middle of it. Recruiting slows down enormously. Not that it ever stops, but it just you start getting official visits, trickle in here and there, but it just dies down so much. Nothing really of consequence going on right now. Auburn's still after a couple of big fish out there, Martez Ivey being one of them, in trying to hang on to the recruits they have. Kerryon Johnson is having a great year at Madison Academy, and I think some of the other recruits you've seen, other teams are still after pretty heavily. So I think right now Auburn's just kind of maintaining what they have, and you probably won't hear things hear too much, too big headline breaking news until closer to the end of the season.
Well, Andy, we appreciate you taking time out to be on the Dane Sharp Attorney Law Hotline, the Auburn Blitz, and we look forward to catching up with you tomorrow on Sports Call.
Yeah, I look forward to it too.
Thanks so much. That's Andy Graham. With the Auburn Blitz segment, we're up against a break. When we come back, Luke and I will be in the Bama Blitz segment of the show, sponsored by Bradbury Medical Center. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live presented by JR's and SNS Discount Tire right after this.
What is LMG? It's a team of professionals with the tools to create a successful marketing plan to help your business grow. LMG has successful designs that get results for the individual and the business. We provide signs of all types, screen printing and embroidery, promotional products, web design, audio and video production, and much more. LMG has 3 locations to serve you in Alex City, Dadeville, and the Auburn Opelika area. Call us at 888-533-6758.
When you're on Lake Martin and looking for your own boat, it pays to know what the locals know. Alex City Marine in Alex City and the all-new Alex City Marine South on Highway 63 across from the Mini Mall is Lake Martin's premier Landau pontoon boat dealer and the area's authorized Suzuki, Honda, and Mercury outboard dealer. Alex City Marine has the industry's best brands, and they back it up with the industry's best boat repair with marine-certified specialists that get it done right. Whether summerization or a full overhaul, Alex City Marine has you covered on both ends of the lake. Know what the locals know. Alex City Marine, Lake Martin's complete sales and service center with 2 locations to serve you.
When it comes to providing the very finest in funeral services, there's one name that stands alone. At Radney's Funeral Home, we take pride in our reputation as one of the leading funeral homes in this part of Alabama. Since 1938, our name has stood for honesty, integrity, and quality. These are the principles that have made Radney's Funeral Home the #1 choice when you want the very finest in funeral service for your family. Radney's Funeral Home, the independent hometown funeral home serving Tallapoosa and surrounding counties.
If you've been seriously injured in a car wreck or truck wreck, don't let the insurance company knock you out without taking responsibility for your medical expenses, pain and suffering, and car repair. You need a fighter. I'm a former Golden Glove champion, and I will fight for you to get the money you deserve. Call Tripp and put a fighter in your corner.
Call the Walton Law Firm at 334-321-3000 or toll free at 866-321-3330. Put a fighter in your corner.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be provided is greater than that of other attorneys.
River Region Sports Fields is a full-service athletic field company servicing the state of Alabama and the Southeast, specializing in construction, laser grading, aerification, top dressing, irrigation, and field drainage of athletic fields of any kind. River Region Sports Fields can manage the entire process of making the perfect athletic field for you. River Region Sports Fields. Give us a call, 205-617-4884, riverregionsportsfields.com.
Football, tailgating, and an award-winning vehicle from Bice Motors in Alex City. You can't beat this time of year.
Buy it, buy! Buy it, buy! Huh.
Drive away with a great deal during the Great American Driveway event going on now at Bice Motors in Alex City.
I told you twice!
Guaranteed lowest price, or we'll pay you the difference in price twice.
Buy it at Bice!
BiceChryslerDodge.com.
Bama Blitz, brought to you by Bradbury Medical Center, offering durable medical equipment, including wheelchairs, oxygen, hospital beds, and more. 256-215-8654.
Welcome back to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and S&S Discount Tire. Here in the Bama Blitz segment of our show, sponsored by Mike Bradbury and Bradbury Medical Center. Call them today for all your medical supply needs, 256-215-8654. Luke, Alabama football this past Saturday. They didn't play on Friday. Last Saturday.
Florida acted like they should play on
They
Friday.
maybe showed up on Friday and didn't show up on Saturday, and it was exactly what I thought was going to happen. I thought the game was a lot closer in the beginning than it probably should have been because of some Alabama mistakes. But Alabama imposed their will in the second half. Amari Cooper continues to be unbelievable. Amazing is a lack of better terms. And, Kenyon Drake lining up out there like Reggie Bush did at Southern Cal in that Lane Kiffin offense. Everybody's been waiting on the Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban blow up, but, all they continue to do offensively is it seems like they've given this offense an added dimension that Alabama has lacked, even through the national championship years. You got a scrambling quarterback in Blake Sims, which adds another dimension to your offense. Amari Cooper's tearing it up. Got a slew of great running backs. It's a good football team, Luke.
Well, and they've been doing it too. I mean, you're seeing a play right now, a highlight if you're watching us on TV of the Florida pass for a touchdown, and that was Jabril Washington back there. And they're doing it without Jarek Williams. They're doing it without Eddie Jackson. He didn't play in this game. So, I mean, there's some injured guys in the secondary that'll play a lot. I mean, Alabama needs Jarek Williams back and Eddie Jackson back for the Ole Miss game. I can promise you that. Jeff Driscoll may not be able to hurt him much, but Bo Wallace probably can. And they've got Laquan Treadwell. I mean, they've got some guys. They've got a great tight end, I know.
Yeah.
And there's one of the Florida touchdowns I was talking about. They got all their turnovers. Here's Blake Sims on a play-action pass.
How is Amari Cooper that wide open?
And Gary Danielson did a great job of breaking this down. Amari Cooper is so good at making you think he's going one way and he's going the other way. And it was a poor play by the defensive back, too, because he tried to do a complete 360, really. I mean, it was a very bad move. You could tell he was inexperienced. But all through the game, Amari Cooper destroyed Vernon Hargraves III. There is no other way to put it. Just absolutely blew his doors off. This play right here is interesting. That's the Keystone Cops play I was talking about. You need that British music there. You know, what's it? But that play right there, when the stats first came out, they gave Blake Sims a 38-yard loss, which is clearly not Blake Sims' fault because that Florida player had possession right there anyway. But they go back today, just today, and change the stats. They get it fixed and give him only a 3-yard loss, which is much more appropriate. And because of that, the stats go up to Alabama with 672 yards in the game, and Blake Sims becomes the number one yards from scrimmage player in the history of Alabama football in one game. And he should have. I mean, it was crazy.
Why is there still doubt in Alabama fans' minds?
I don't think there is doubt. I'll tell you, I'll be honest. I think there was doubt in everybody's mind. And I think the doubt stems from, and look, it's not like it's totally unwarranted. I mean, anybody who saw Blake Sims play in A-Day.
After this game.
No, after this game, it's over. I mean, if you look, after the first throw, it was over. After that first throw to Drake, that was perfect.
You could have thrown that ball. I mean, it was. He had two wide. Those guys were so wide open, and it was a testament to the play call. I think Lane Kiffin dialed up the perfect play at the perfect time, and they hit them deep. And look, I'm going to do a comparison here. Blake Sims, ball on the money. Nick Marshall, 3 yards overthrown. I mean, that's the difference in a touchdown and you coming back for 2nd and 10.
No, I totally agree. And look, that's also something that you probably only get one shot at because the defense is going to say we're not going to have that matchup again.
That's right.
And but Kenyon Drake, and God bless him. Here's the thing about Alabama's running backs. TJ Yeldon, people are going to say, well, what's wrong with him? Let me tell you, I don't think he was even going to play in the game. I don't think there was a full decision until Friday. He's been having some issues, some injury issues, and that's why he didn't start. I mean, he didn't start the game. He didn't get as many carries as Derrick Henry did.
Kenyon Drake's a better running back. I'm sorry.
So Derrick Henry is right this minute. Yeah. But TJ Yeldon may end up being the number one leading rusher in Alabama history. Kenyon Drake, though, he was in on obviously after that big catch.
He's just a more explosive
He fumbled on the first carry, and then he was a part of the fumble on that Keystone Cops fumble. He was the smoke draw guy that, there was a mishandle. The ball goes backwards. So Kenyon Drake has a knack for being around fumbles, and that's not necessarily
Penthouse to the outhouse. Start scoring the opening play of the game.
But he's something special. I mean, he really is. He's an explosive back. Here's hoping that he comes back one more year. There's a lot of talk that he may forego his senior year next year because he's gonna test well at whatever camps he goes to. He's gonna put the speed up, and he's muscular. He's got he's been in the doghouse, but it's all for little stuff. So I think that won't really hurt him all too much. I mean, it's not like he's got Jameis Winston stuff going on. But Derrick Henry, by the end of the game, that Alabama offensive line, Cam Robinson, he is not getting enough publicity.
What was the deal with him and Blake Sims right there?
You know what? And I loved it. And I thought that it was a good moment because it told me Blake Sims has this team now because he's not scared to get in somebody's face, even though it is a true freshman.
Cam Robinson's not afraid to grab his face.
And Cam Robinson wasn't afraid to fight back a little bit, which I also like. People keep saying it's reminiscent of A.J. against Barrett Jones at Notre Dame. And I think there's a difference because at that time when it happened with Blake Sims, the game was still very much in doubt. It was a heated moment that had to happen. When it happened with Alabama and A.J. and Barrett Jones, the game was already over. And I thought it was more kind of a moment where A.J. begins to lose the team, whereas this may be a moment that Blake Sims begins to take the team over. Let's let that music play. That is awesome. That's some good producing.
That is some classic background music to a crazy play. Alabama off this week, and then moving on the rest of the schedule.
They need an off week. I'm going to tell you, because the rest of their schedule, look, 4 of their next 5 are on the road. They've got certainly they've got not an easy one at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the enormity of that game, with game day probably being there, it's going to be the CBS 2:30, that weighs heavy on the Rebels, because they have a better looking defense to me on the hoof than Alabama does. Then they go to Arkansas, and that's a team that's improving. Alabama will beat them because they're one-dimensional, but they're going to beat Alabama up. And you come back, and you talk about 2 contrasting games. You play Arkansas, then you got Texas A&M at home, and Kenny Trill coming in, throwing it all over the place. And then you go to Tennessee. And then you have an off week and go to LSU.
Tennessee's got a big
so
one this week.
I'm going back to, if somebody will please tell me where the easy schedule is. Everybody was saying Alabama had. I don't see a gimme in there.
I don't see anybody in the West that has an
Nobody
easy schedule.
does.
So we're going to take a break. That's going to do it for the Bama Blitz, sponsored by Mike Bradbury and Bradbury Medical. When we come back, we'll go through the country, talk about some of the games from last week, some of the upcoming games, the Jameis Winston debacle. He just continues to show up. You know what? Jimbo Fisher gets what he deserves, in my opinion, Luke, because, Jameis Winston knew very well what he was doing, and he comes back out again and defends him and says, it was an equipment manager. They stuck his equipment in there, and he was mistaken. Give me a freaking break.
Well, that's what Paul Feinbaum put it best. He said, has the equipment manager been under a rock? Because, who didn't know that Jameis Winston was supposed to be suspended?
That's exactly. We'll talk more about that when we come back. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR's and S&S Tire, right after this.
CTE Small Engines has served East Alabama's lawn and power equipment needs with quality products from Echo, Husqvarna, and Kawasaki. But now, CTE has expanded to serve the entire state with full lines of Titan UTVs. CTE Small Engines is Alabama's exclusive Titan dealer with full lines of the Scoot, Sniper, Explorer, and Recon series, featuring hybrid electric and gas combo with up to an 1100cc power package. See Alabama's exclusive Titan dealer, CTE Small Engines at Opelika, next to Tigertown off I-85. Or shop our full inventory at ctesmallengines.com.
I'm attorney Dane Sharp. If you've been injured in an auto accident, don't choose an attorney simply because they have flashy television commercials and tons of billboards. Call a local attorney who can give your case the personal attention it needs and deserves. For over 20 years, I've handled hundreds of auto accidents, and I take pride in the personal service we provide and the results we obtain for our clients. So if you've been injured, give me a call today and put our team to work for you.
Excitement awaits you on beautiful Lake Martin. Alex City Guide Service can provide you with a charter trip of a lifetime. Licensed charter guide David Hare has over 20 years of experience on Lake Martin, specializing in live bait fishing for trophy-sized saltwater striped bass, largemouth bass, and spotted bass. Call Alex City Guide Service today at 256-401-3089 or visit them online at www.alexcityguideservice.com.
Family owned and operated, Holly's Home Furnishings is the Lake Martin area's best choice for all of your furniture needs. Whether you're looking for something new for the living room, dining room, or bedroom, Holly's has something you'll love for every room in your house. Holly's has a great selection of furniture and the most popular names like Lane, Broyhill, Rowe Furniture, as well as the best names in mattresses like Sealy and Tempur-Pedic. You can even get beautiful home decor, everything your home needs, at Holly's Home Furnishings, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City. Visit their website at hollyshomefurnishings.com.
It's always something. Your car needs a new tire, tuition is due, it's down to the wire. Cheerleading outfits, soccer shoes, football pads, or annual dues. Nellie's in band, she needs a trombone. Good golly Molly, you need a loan. Jimmy broke his arm, he needs a cast. You need money, and you need it fast. When life comes at you, Always Money can help you through. It's easy, convenient, friendly, and fast. You'll get the cash you need the day you need it. So because it's always something, remember Always Money. How much can we loan you today?
At the Medicine Shop, we're dedicated to the idea that quality pharmacy care means more than just prompt prescriptions. When you come to the Medicine Shop Pharmacy, you'll be able to count on dependable care from a knowledgeable pharmacist. The Medicine Shop is the only compounding pharmacy in the area, and we offer the shingles vaccine year-round. Bring your prescriptions by the drive-thru on Airport Drive in Alex City, or input them online at www.medicineshop.com, or call them at 256-215-8014. The Medicine Shop, caring beyond prescriptions.
Blitz Live presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. And S&S Discount Tire, the fun things we do during commercial break.
Can we please, Justin, can you do that one more time? If you've got it, just key it up one more time. We've got to see it. The yakety sacks with
Florida,
with Alabama and the Florida and the fumble. He's got to key it up. But that really was crazy. I mean, I was at the game. I'll tell you what, the thermostat may have said it was like 88.
It was
1,206 degrees. I saw people's glasses frames melting. I mean, that sun was just beating, and it would dodge clouds.
Yes,
it was crazy.
And you know, when you're sitting in a stadium, it's concrete and it's hard. No breeze that blows in really. I mean, brutal. That sun will just bake you. It's worse than moving around. And everybody's like, those poor guys on the field. No, they're moving around and got a little space.
Those big air conditioner things. I mean,
amazing.
Especially the ones that don't play.
Well, we'll hopefully get the yakety sacks queued back up in a minute. But in the meantime, we'll talk about Jameis Winston. Talking about, we could play that music with him coming out of the locker room with his uniform on. You know, to me, this just is another chapter in the drama-laden Jameis Winston that we've all watched over the last year. And you got the rest of the season coming up. Luke, it's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when is he going to do something else stupid.
Have you ever disliked a college player more?
I
haven't. I mean,
did you see Christian Ponder's wife when she went off on him on ESPN?
Sam
Ponder? Yes.
What did she say?
It's unbelievable. And she says, you know, we're all trying to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's just a kid. She said, look, he knows very well what he's doing. And she said, let's just take out the rape, the rape, and if he didn't do anything. She said, how in the world can you think in your mind that what you did was right? After going through that and get up there and say the dumb things that he continues to say in the limelight. You know, people that say they feel sorry for people in the spotlight, don't feel sorry for people in the spotlight. You know what they said in that movie, The Edge? Don't feel sorry for the guy with the plane. Don't feel sorry for Jameis Winston, who won the Heisman Trophy, won a national championship, and go, oh, well, he just wants to be a kid. Well, you know what? You're not, and you've made yourself that way, but you get all the perks of when things are good. You have to suffer through the hardships when it's bad.
Well, and I want to talk to John Talty about this because he has a great article on AL.com about it, but that's exactly right. That's my point. I mean, you get all this free publicity when everybody's just clamoring for you, and you get ranked. And you know, I'm bringing up all these names on the A list. And Jameis Winston was right there at the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. He was fabulous. So I mean, don't be like, all right, I'm going to just take the good stuff, and I'm going to be the kid when
and we all pulled for him after he left Alabama, and wanted to see him do well because we covered him in the High School Athletic Association. He's made it to where you can't. You can't like him.
No, cannot.
Mike in Birmingham, you're on Sports Blitz.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen? Luke, my brother, what's happening?
Hey, Mike, what's going on, my man?
What's going on, y'all?
How's it going?
Just a sports show.
It's going good, man. Good to hear y'all tonight, man. Great show as always.
Appreciate it.
Hey, I actually heard something kind of that caught me off guard today. I was watching Mike Golick actually defended Jameis Winston. He said that because the suspension for the full game came in so late, like on Friday, that the equipment managers probably went ahead and laid out his stuff, and then it wouldn't be that much of a shock for the player just to go and see what was in his locker and just put it on, like that's what he was supposed to do. I was bashing him for the same reason y'all were, but I thought Golick had an interesting take on it.
Yeah, I mean, to me it sounds like one of those things where ESPN is like, we've got to take another angle on this because everybody's going to be trashing him. So let's try and find another angle and at least bring up the topic and see if that stirs any emotion. Because usually, and I listen to that program too, Mike and Mike, I think it's pretty good. Usually Golick would kill somebody for something like that. So it sounds like he was maybe forced to take that angle.
And I think so. And Mike, you know, one of the things that you look at to me is, you know, if you want to say that happened, that's fine. But Jimbo Fisher just needs to quit talking about it. I mean, he brings it up again in the press conference yesterday and is like, well, you know, he's bringing attention to something that everybody else has moved on from, and he brings more attention back. It just feels like he has to continue to take up for Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I agree. You may be right, man. And let's talk about ESPN for a minute. Luke, I want to get your take on their FPI, that Football Power Index. I've not really noticed it coming to the forefront until this year, and it seems like they keep pushing it and keep pushing it. And I wonder, man, what do you think is the agenda behind that? Because
trying to influence.
I'm an SEC guy, so if you look at their FPI, it says that the top 4 schools are all SEC schools. But something's behind that, man. I looked up online what it was, and it just said something to the effect of it's a measurement of how the team might fare in later action or something. It was a real ambiguous definition on ESPN's website. But, what do y'all know about it, and what is it? What is it used for?
I don't really know that it's used for anything. I mean, not any of these rankings are used much for anything, is my understanding. But I'm looking at the FPI right now. It does have Alabama 1, A&M 2, Auburn 3, and Georgia 4. And you look at Georgia at 4 and you say that, hey, FPI, they just lost to South Carolina, right?
Because we just struggled with
that. I could see Ole Miss ahead of Georgia right this minute. But
Mike, here's my take on it. I'm going to throw my 2 cents worth in. Money controls everything, right? And now that they're going to this playoff committee, they're not going to have the BCS selection show that you tune in and watch on ESPN anymore. So ESPN owns the SEC network. Walt Disney owns all of them. So that's their way of influencing, I think, who's going to be in the mix come time for the football playoff selection committee.
I think you're right on the money, man. I think you are right on the money because, you've got to follow the cash everywhere, and that's going to work out great for us. I think Saban is a master at taking the things that are, that he says he can't control and playing them up he knows that people think that if you are high in recruiting that you got a good program. So he makes sure to do that. I mean, obviously you can do it for the players too, but you know what I'm saying? He plays them to the hill. And I think y'all are exactly right. I think that FPI is going to be skewed to make the SEC look good so that we can get maybe more teams in there because it's going to be our conference that drives the ratings, not anybody else.
And I agree with you, Mike. At the same time, the SEC is the best conference.
Well, they are, but when you own something, have a vested interest, there's going to be times when conferences catch up a little bit.
And they feed off each other because if ESPN keeps propping up the SEC, then more recruits will come to the SEC, which means they'll be better, and then the ESPN can prop up more.
If you thought the SEC was better, if you thought the SEC was powerful, then just look at them now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. But I'll tell you somebody in the SEC that's not powerful that I can't stand is Mississippi, and I refuse to call them by that nickname that they have on their hat because I think it's racist. I cannot believe they still use that phrase. I can't believe that any African-American kid would want to go there to play, okay? And so I want your take on this. How do y'all think that all of a sudden, Danny Hugh Freeze is this recruiting guru? I mean, what was it, Liv? Was it 2 years ago that on the last day he landed Connor, he landed Laramie Tunsil, he landed Kim Dichie? I know his brother's there, you know what I mean? But then I had a buddy of mine tell me this week that he landed some other big defensive back away from us, Alabama, Auburn or whatever. I mean, what's going on there? For real. I mean, why would you want to go and play there?
Hey, look, I hear what you're saying, Mike. I see where you're going. But it's funky. It's very funky. There's no question about it. At the same time, I mean, I think Brett and I both, and Randy and my brother Austin, when he's been up here, I mean, we've all traded barbs back and forth, and in the end, we always say, you know what, nobody's getting in trouble for it, and everybody's kind of doing it, so you better get in there and swim with the sharks if you want to, because it looks like the NCAA is not going to do anything about it. And see, that's the thing about Jameis Winston, taking this thing full circle, that if you're Jameis Winston, everybody's blaming him, and they should. I mean, he's a jerk. I dislike watching him. I wish he was suspended, but that's neither here nor there.
Wish he hadn't been on the sideline with a camera in his face.
He looks, he's on the sideline. He gets all the camera time, even though he's suspended. He gets dressed out, and Jimbo Fisher acts like Mr. Tough Guy, and if he was really so tough, he would have said, you know what, you dressed out, you can't be on the sideline. How about that? Or you can't play for another game.
How about get out of the stadium?
Yeah, something like that. And so Jameis Winston's looking, and he's never really getting punished. He just keeps doing it. And, I mean, it's the same way with recruiting. I mean, if you can get away with some of these things that you're talking about, and if you're Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, whomever, then if nobody's going to stop you, why not keep going?
Hey, Mike, we're up against the break, man, but we really appreciate your call, brother.
Enjoyed it, gentlemen. Love the show.
Thank you so much. And got to get to break. Got a great guest coming up, and we want to hear from him. Stay tuned. More Sportz Blitz Live, presented by JR's and S&S Tire right after this.
What is LMG? It's a team of professionals with the tools to create a successful marketing plan to help your business grow. LMG has successful designs that get results for the individual and the business. We provide signs of all types, screen printing and embroidery, promotional products, web design, audio and video production, and much more. LMG has 3 locations to serve you in Alex City, Dadeville, and the Auburn Opelika area. Call us at 888-533-6758.
Show Enough Barbecue. Since 1990, we've been serving you the finest barbecue in Alexander City. Gerald believes in cooking fresh meat daily, and the secret to that is, I'm not going to tell you. Show Enough is just not about barbecue, but also known for fresh vegetables and homemade pies. That's where I come in. I'm Linda Sanford, better known as the Pie Lady. We also do catering. For more information, give us a call at 234-7675.
Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
When it comes to health care, Russell Medical Center has always been my choice. When my doctor recommended I have my procedure there, I knew it was the right decision. He knows the kind of expertise, quality, and care I've come to expect. When surgery was necessary, I knew I would be in good hands, and it felt comfortable being treated in a facility so close to home.
Russell Medical Center, your health, your community, your hospital.
Hey, Jerry. Nice yard. I bet this dead wood really hits home for you. The only thing getting trimmed around here are property values.
Does it ever feel like your yard work is taunting you?
Where you going? The nail salon's the other way.
Take back your yard with professional-grade equipment from Echo. Reliable, easy to use, and backed by a 5-year warranty. Echo. Get serious.
Get your SRN 225 trimmer at Satterfield's, Highway 280, Alexander City.
When you need plumbing service, call on the professionals at A&M Plumbing LLC. For over 20 years, our mission has been to provide the best possible service available in the industry, and we specialize in solving difficult problems. We offer a wide range of services, such as installation, service, repair and replacement of common fixtures, water heaters, toilets, faucets, drains, sewer lines, and septic tank pumping and cleaning services. Unlike many companies, our septic tank services include field line testing. Our knowledgeable staff will be happy to answer any of your questions, so call A&M Plumbing LLC today.
Welcome back into Sportz Blitz Live. Luke Robinson with you now. Want to welcome in John Talty with AL.com. John, how are you tonight? Well, John, how are you tonight? It always helps when I answer the phone. John, how's it going?
Good. How you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Thanks so much for being with us, John Talty with AL.com. You had a fabulous article on Jameis Winston and really just laying out what recruits don't need to do regarding Jameis Winston. I think he's laid the blueprint of how not to act as a college athlete, right?
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, I think from that I've had conversations with a couple people, kicking around some is, and I probably should write something about it. But he really is this kind of perfect example of a guy who's kind of had a blessed life in some ways, but just kind of continues to make mistake after mistake. And really just this example is probably in some ways the most innocent of some of the things that he's been accused of doing, but it also just shows the least kind of amount of regard in that he thought he kind of was above the law by doing what he did, and just it kind of shows, or at least I hope it shows, to some of these other kind of young kids that are going to be in this position in a few years, that you can't do these things when you are a Jameis Winston, or you are, a 5-star recruit, or you're, Blake Sims at Alabama, or Nick Marshall at Auburn, or anything. You are held to a higher standard, and you have to know that people are watching your every single move, and you can't just do whatever you want.
Exactly, and Alabama now as a state is putting out so many prospects all over the place. You want to let all these kids know, hey, whether you go all the way to the West Coast or whether you stay at home and play for Troy or UAB or Alabama or Auburn or whatever, just remember that you're always going to be watched. Now, it doesn't matter. If you are a 3-star or higher, I can promise you all eyes are on you every single Friday night until you get to that college, and then they're on you all the time. Let's talk about a few guys in the state of Alabama this year. And you know what? I'm going to sort of deviate from the top, the super A-listers, the Darren Paynes, the Lester Cottons, the Kerryon Johnsons. We know about those guys. But I personally love Keith Mixon at Shades Valley. I'm campaigning for him to get that Alabama or Auburn offer, preferably Alabama, because I would love to, I think he's the kind of guy that can be an Amir Abdullah at Nebraska, and I just feel like he's got an incredible future ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's the ideal low-risk, high-reward guy for an Alabama. He's a great kid. They're going to be, when you talked about Jameis Winston earlier, you're not going to have any of those issues with Keith Mixon. He's just a great kid. He's going to come in, he's going to work. So if you just look at the potential kind of ramifications, you're not going to have anything bad of a kid like that. And I've seen him enough that he gets it done on the field. I mean, he's not your ideal, only about 5'8" or so, but he's got 4.4 speed, and he just killed it this year. He did it last year, and I would love for him to get that Alabama offer and offer too, because he's a kid that I know that can play at that level. I think the state is going to be a tremendous addition for them. But I do think that he would bring a lot to the table. I think absolute worst case scenario, he could be a kind of specialist for you, be a punt returner like Christian Jones, where he can kind of come in, play the slot a little bit, do some stuff as a punt returner, kick returner. Kind of bring some different kind of things to the table for you at an Alabama. And he's by far one of my favorite players in the state this year.
Yeah, I go back to Keith Mixon. I think who are the two of the most beloved players of my generation of Alabama fans, and that would be David Palmer and Javier Arenas. And I think Keith Mixon's kind of in that mold. He's not quite as elusive as David Palmer, may not have the defensive skills as Javier Arenas, but I think he's somewhere in between there. And I just think he's going to have a big-time impact at whatever school he goes to. I know he's committed to Mississippi State right now, and if he does go there, I'll wish him the best. I'll always be pulling for him. Another guy who's committed to Mississippi State, Nick Gibson out of Pinson Valley. It seemed like last year he was always putting up Tecmo Bowl numbers. This year he's doing very well. It's not quite the number of touchdowns. It seemed like every other week he was getting 7 touchdowns in a game, but he's a pretty fabulous running back in his own right.
Yeah, and if you kind of look at just overall Mississippi State ball out of the Birmingham area, he's a pretty talented group, including guys like Gibson, Mixon, Maurice Smitherman at a minor, Kendall Jones at a Clay Knoxville. I mean, it's a pretty talented group, and Gibson's a guy that we at AL.com like a lot. I think he's number 10 on our A list right now. He's not putting up quite, the big numbers that he did last year, though. I think more teams are kind of able to key in on him a little bit this year. And the competition might be a little bit better. But I just think that he's a kind of a good prototypical running back. He's bigger than a lot of the other kids that we kind of talk about running backs in this current group in Alabama. I think he can carry the rock for you, 3 times if you need on a drive. And, a little surprising that I guess some of the other bigger schools, really didn't make a heavy push for him. But he is a guy that I know schools are still kind of keeping in on. It'll be interesting to see whether anyone does kind of make a wave run it, and he maybe missed out on a target a little bit higher up on the board late in the game.
Well, John, we certainly do appreciate your time tonight. You've got some fabulous stuff on AL.com. I encourage everybody to go check it out. I love recruiting in the state of Alabama. I think it's always underrated, and I think it's proven when you got guys like Jameis Winston. Say what you want to about him. He did win the Heisman Trophy in the national championship last year. You've got Amir Abdullah, who should certainly be up there. And Darunya Wilson, don't forget him at Mississippi State already. He looks like Julio Jones light right this minute. So the state of Alabama has a ton of great prospects, and you get to cover all of them, and you do a fantastic job.
I really appreciate that.
Well, we will have you on again soon, John. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man.
That was John Talty with AL.com. Really do appreciate his being on the program. We'll be back in just a minute to wrap up Sports Blitz Live.
What is LMG? It's a team of professionals with the tools to create a successful marketing plan to help your business grow. LMG has successful designs that get results for the individual and the business. We provide signs of all types, screen printing and embroidery, promotional products, web design, audio and video production, and much more. LMG has 3 locations to serve you in Alex City, Dadeville, and the Auburn Opelika area. Call us at 888-533-6758.
Show Enough Barbecue. Since 1990, we've been serving you the finest barbecue in Alexander City. Gerald believes in cooking fresh meat daily, and the secret to that is, I'm not going to tell you. Show Enough is just not about barbecue, but also known for fresh vegetables and homemade pies. That's where I come in. I'm Linda Sanford, better known as the Pie Lady. We also do catering. For more information, give us a call at 234-7675.
Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
When it comes to health care, Russell Medical Center has always been my choice. When my doctor recommended I have my procedure there, I knew it was the right decision. He knows the kind of expertise, quality, and care I've come to expect. When surgery was necessary, I knew I would be in good hands, and it felt comfortable being treated in a facility so close to home.
Russell Medical Center, your health, your community, your hospital.
Hey, Jerry. Nice yard. I bet this dead wood really hits home for you. The only thing getting trimmed around here are property values.
Does it ever feel like your yard work is taunting you?
Where you going? The nail salon's the other way.
Take back your yard with professional-grade equipment from Echo. Reliable, easy to use, and backed by a 5-year warranty. Echo. Get serious.
Get your SRN 225 trimmer at Satterfield's, Highway 280, Alexander City.
When you need plumbing service, call on the professionals at A&M Plumbing LLC. For over 20 years, our mission has been to provide the best possible service available in the industry, and we specialize in solving difficult problems. We offer a wide range of services, such as installation, service, repair and replacement of common fixtures, water heaters, toilets, faucets, drains, sewer lines, and septic tank pumping and cleaning services. Unlike many companies, our septic tank services include field line testing. Our knowledgeable staff will be happy to answer any of your questions, so call A&M Plumbing LLC today.
Welcome back to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and S&S Discount Tire. I want to thank John Talty for being on the program.
Oh, he was great.
And, did a great job there. Only a couple minutes left in tonight's show. I want to thank all of our calls that have come in. And it's been a quick show, a lot to talk about. Let's talk about games coming up this week. Luke, of note, some interesting games on tap in the SEC.
Yeah, Tennessee at Georgia. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think Tennessee's got a really good shot to pull off the upset.
You really think so?
I really, really do.
Georgia by 17.
I know. I thought that line blew me away. I mean, I just don't think Tennessee is 17 points worse than Georgia right this minute. And I think Georgia, I know they blew out Troy, but Troy's having their problems right now. And I think Georgia's got sort of a fragile ego. And if Tennessee will just hang tough for a while and be there in the fourth quarter, and maybe only down a score, I think Tennessee has a great shot to win this thing. I think that Arkansas, Texas A&M is going to get tons of hype. It's the CBS game. It's in Arlington. In the end, I think Texas A&M is just too much.
What about Vanderbilt and Kentucky? I know nobody talking about that.
Can you cue Benny Hill playing again? Yeah, that's exactly
but Vanderbilt, I mean, what? It was in doubt for a minute for South Carolina. It just –
Well, Steve Spurrier gave the press conference of all press conferences today. There you go.
I think that's our cue that it's time to get out. So,
But no, Steve Spurrier gave a great press conference, and what was hilarious about it, I don't know if you got to see it out there, but he said, you know what, we didn't do anything right. We couldn't kick it deep, so we finally just started kicking it on the ground, but at least we held them to a lot of punts. And then he went and looked at the stat sheet. No, he goes, no, never mind. We only punted 3 times.
Missouri goes to South Carolina. What's your thoughts on that?
I think my thoughts on that are that game day going to that game tells you what kind of a bunk weekend it is.
Let's go get to the phones, and we don't have him. So, but I think that was Brian. Brian, we appreciate it. Appreciate you calling. To give us a call back when you can. Up against the close of the show, Luke. Just some crazy football every week in college. So now we're saying we got a phone call. Is this Brian?
This is Brian.
This is Brian. So thank you for reaffirming that. Brian, what's going on, my man? You got about 30 seconds.
Elmore County comes to Realton this week football at high school.
Elmore County played Leeds pretty tough, didn't they?
Yep.
Do you think they'll pull off the win against Jackie O'Neill's team?
The silence is very telling.
Brian, do you think they'll beat Reeltown?
That would be.
I think Brian has said sayonara for the night. He's made his comments, and he's to the house. We got 10 seconds, Luke. Been a great show. We'll be back.
Take us out, Benny.
Be back with you next week. We enjoyed it. We hope you have. See you next time.
Auburn Urgent Care, located on South College in Auburn and on Enterprise Drive in Opelika near Tigertown, offers convenient solutions to your healthcare and occupational medicine needs. We offer workman's compensation injury care, and we have a certified DOT medical examiner on staff. It's not about speed, it's about the quality of care. We're open 7 days a week, 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekends in Auburn, and 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday in Opelika. Walk-ins are welcome. Auburn Urgent Care. 334-821-3221 in Auburn or 334-749-9191 in Opelika. Visit us online at auburnurgentcare.com. Proud of our past, confident in our future. And for your primary health care needs, visit Family Health Clinic at 1456 Opelika Road in Auburn. 334-826-8951. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
It's always something. Your car needs a new tire, tuition is due, it's down to the wire. Cheerleading outfits, soccer shoes, football pads, or annual dues. Nellie's in band, she needs a trombone. Good golly Molly, you need a loan. Jimmy broke his arm, he needs a cast. You need money, and you need it fast. When life comes at you, Always Money can help you through. It's easy, convenient, friendly, and fast. You'll get the cash you need the day you need it. So because it's always something, remember Always Money. How much can we loan you today?
Hello? Yeah, man, I just picked some up. Wait a second. I think I see some cheaper ice. Hold on one moment. What's going on here?
Man, just get my ice at Twice Ice like I always do.
Well, look what I paid almost $3 for.
Man, you can get a 16-pound bag of ice or fill up your cooler with 20 pounds for $1.50. This is the only place to come.
Just pull up to one of our convenient locations in Alex City, Dadeville, Sylacauga, or Childersburg and fill up your cooler. Lowest price, convenience. That's what you get with Twice the Ice.
Tallapoosa Ford on Highway 280 in Alex City has delivered new Fords for 35 years. Need fuel efficiency with style? See the best selection of 13 Ford Fusions delivering 38 MPG in a new stylish package. Check out the Hybrid C Max crossover now on the lot, offering roomy comfort with an amazing 47 MPG, rating highway and city.
Hello, this is Jeff Smith with Tallapoosa Ford. I'd like to welcome you to our dealership and experience our low-pressure sales. With non-commissioned salespeople, our sales force is here to serve you.
Visit Tallapoosa Ford, Highway 280, Alex City. If we don't have it, we'll get it, guaranteed.